Hi, this is Phyllis, and welcome back again to my channel. Today's project is going to be our protected pearls necklace strap, and that's what we are doing in the video. We are making the necklace strap, and as it's got both sides of the strap and it's got its clasping, but here we are open, and I'm going to show you how to make the focal piece in a separate video, because this video is quite lengthy. So I just needed to break it down a little so I can help you out. But I'm going to release both videos on the same day, and so that I don't keep you waiting. And I just want you to see what is going on here with this. Now with this the focal piece, if you enjoyed my my earring video, well, you can make a focal piece just like that. I would just add a couple more pearls just to make it a little wider, and that will make a beautiful focal piece. This will. But I'm not going to make a focal piece like this. It's going to be similar, but it's not going to be like that. So stay tuned for the focal piece, which will be coming in a subsequent video. And if you love this necklace strap, you don't even have to use the focal that I'm making. You can use any focal bead or whatever you want to buy, a piece that you buy from the store or anything you could do. But in the meantime, I just want you to stay tuned for the materials list so that we could get started making this project. Thank you again for supporting my channel. See you in a minute. The materials I will be using for this project are 4mm round beads. In this case, I'm using my Crystal Passions 4mm iridescent Tahitian pearls, and I'm using size 11 seed beads. These are my palladium plated 11 seed beads. I'll be using my 6-pound fire line in the crystal color. I'll be using a size 10. You can use 11, 10, 11, 12, 13, whatever size needle you want. I think this is a size 10 beading needle. Over here I've got 2 pairs of pliers. That's just for working with my jump rings. I've got my scissors, and my jump rings are stainless steel 10mm twisted jump ring. My lobster claw is stainless steel, and it is my, oh, excuse my shadow on my finger. It is a 15 by 9mm. I picked this package up at Michael's, and this is what I'm using. I usually use the swivel bottom, and I have some, but this was much more convenient to grab. Of course, I'm going to be using wire guardians, and these are stainless steel, 0.5mm size, and my bead board, and my patience. I promise you, this project is it's not hard. It's just a little tedious, and you have to bring your patience with you and your creativity, because you may want to change it up and do your own thing. You may want to make it like the protected pearls bracelet, but whatever you decide, I just want you to try to make this. So I'm going to start off by stringing my needle with 2 yards of thread, and we will have to add thread on as we go. But just do a comfortable length of thread for you, and when I turn the camera on, we will get started making our necklace. To begin our project, all we need to have available to us right now are the 4mm round beads, my pearls here, and our seed beads. And for the purpose of the video, I placed my gray bead mat on top of my beadboard. It's easier to see the beads with the gray bead mat. I have a comfortable length of thread on my needle, and I'm going to begin by stringing on. I'm going to string on one 4mm round and 5 seed beads. I'm going to pull the beads down to just leave about a 4 to 6 inch tail, and we're going to pass my needle back into the round bead, and I'm going to hold on to it so that I keep the length of tail that I want. And this is what I have. Now this is a 4 right angle weave project with 4 points, and the points are a pearl side, a top side, another side with 3 beads, and a bottom side with 1 bead. And this project is going to be double right angle weave because I'm going to encase the pearl with another set of these surrounding beads, as I call them, the protective beads. I'm going to just turn the work so that my the seed beads are on the left so that I can work comfortably on my right side. And I'm going to string on 5 more seed beads, and I'm going to pass my needle back into the same pearl where I was exiting, and I'm going to hold on to the pearl and pull my thread, and this is our setup. From here we're moving forward. I'm going to pass my needle, position my needle into this top seed bead, that top side, and there's only 1 seed bead on the top and bottom sides, if you can see where I'm going with that. The top is 1 bead, the side is 3 beads, the bottom is 1 bead, and then the pearl side. So at this point we are repositioned. I am struggling with this thread, I'm sorry. At this point we are repositioned in our top side so that we can move forward. When we are in this position, what we're going to do is string on our outside beads. So that means I'm going to string on 4. The reason I'm only stringing on 4 is because I already have the 5th one, and that is where my thread is exiting. So I have my 4 seed beads, and I'm getting another pearl, and I'm going to circle back, and I'm going to pass my needle into that 1 bead. And as you can see, we have now that top side is now the bottom side, and then we still have a new side over here, a new right side with 3 beads, and we have a new top side. All right, so since we're coming out of this seed bead, we have to continue advancing on this side so that we can move into position to add the protective seed beads on the other side of the pearl. So all I've done right now is I have advanced, I have advanced my needle through the 3 seed beads on the side. Now I'm passing this needle into the top seed bead, and I'm just holding on to the pearl so our beads don't get deformed, that they remain in their right angle weave formation. At this point, now that I'm coming out of the top, I need to re-enter into the pearl, and I'm only holding the pearl so it doesn't come out of formation, as I said. And now I'm going into the bottom left. At this point, now that I am repositioned in the bottom left, And just going to hold on to this so that this doesn't come out of formation on this side. All right, so now I am exiting the bead on the left, and that means that I have one seed bead, which is now the new bottom left. I need to get the 3 more seed beads that make up the new side and the 1 seed bead that makes up the top. So that means I'm stringing on 4 additional beads. And once I get my beads, I'm going to enter again into the purl, pull the thread, and pass the needle back into that seed bead where I started, right there, and pull my thread. And then I'm going to advance into the 3 seed beads on the side, the new left side. And I'm going to keep pulling on this tail thread so that I can keep these beads tightly formed. And now I'm going to reposition into my new top left side, right there. Once we have these beads, once we are in this position with our thread exiting that seed bead, which is the new top left seed bead, what do? We can look at where we are, and we know that the next thing we need to do is pick up a purl, because the purl is going to sit right here in the middle. And then I need 4 more seed beads. Those 4 seed beads are going to make up the new top left and the new top left side. So I'm stringing on my 4 seed beads, and once I get those on, I'm going to circle back and enter back into the same seed bead where we started this step and pull my thread. And once I do that, you can see that I have a new purl and a new left side. I'm going to reposition myself now by entering into the purl again. And we need to make our right side. So coming out of the purl, I need to string on 4 seed beads. And once I get my 4, I need to enter into the bottom right seed bead right here, which makes up our whole unit on that side. And I'm going to pass back through the purl, today, yes, today. And once I pull the thread, this is what we have: 3 purls with 2 sides. To keep going, once I'm coming out of this purl at this position, I'm going to provide a little continuity and go back into the right side. Pull my needle through that bead so I can reposition. Once we are here, I'm going to string on 4 seed beads and a purl. And I'm going to circle back and enter back into that seed bead where we started, pull my thread, and I'm going to continue advancing my needle through my new right side, which are these 3 seed beads which make up a side. Then I'm going to go into my new top right, which is 1 seed bead, and I have to enter into the purl again so that I can get into position to make the surrounding side. So I'm going to pull the thread, enter into my bottom left seed bead. When I pull the thread, now I need to add 4 seed beads. And once I get my 4, I'm going to pass back through the purl. And I'm just holding on to it, so that I don't lose my formation. I'm going to go back into, come on, tighten that up, yep. Pass back into now the bottom left again, where we started that step. And I'm going to go into my side, the 3 seed beads on the side, and into the new top left. Now, I'm hoping that I did this enough times for you to get the gist. Once we get into this position with our needle exiting the seed bead, going toward the inside of the work, we need a purl first, and then we need 4 more seed beads. We're going to circle back into this seed bead where we began this step, pull our thread, pass back into the purl, pull the thread, and in this position now, I've got some I got some looseness going on. I'm just going to, with my dexterity, just hold onto the thread with my fingers and push the seed bead so that there's no loose thread, none whatsoever. This tail thread, this side down here, is coming out because I didn't secure it with a stop bead, or I didn't go back around into the beads, but we don't really need to do that right now. Unless yours is coming loose, you could always put a stop bead there, or go back into reinforce that unit so that that won't happen again. So once we are in this position, coming out of the purl now, we have to make the protective side on the right side, so I have to string on 4 seed beads. Excuse me. And then I'm going to pass my needle into the bottom right seed bead, pull the thread, and enter back into the purl. And for continuity and a little strength, to my top right. And again, once in this position, we're going to string on 4 seed beads, and this time we put our purl in after the seed beads, and we're going to circle back into the seed bead where we began this step, pass the needle, and we're going to go reposition ourselves so we can make the other side by going into the seed beads on the side, the seed bead on the top, back into the purl, and the seed bead on the bottom left, just like that. Once here, now we need 4 seed beads, and once we get the 4 seed beads, we're going to enter into the purl, and into the bottom left seed bead where we began the step. We're going to get back into the side here. Remember that our right angle weave stitching is about a series of figure 8s, and we end up here at our top left. From here we begin again. We do our purl first and then our 4 seed beads, and we're going to continue doing this until you get to the length of the necklace strap that you want. The necklace strap can be made with just the single string of pearls like I have here going on down, and for my strap I'm going to use 42 pearls to make this side. But as you could see from the picture of the focal piece, the necklace focal piece, I'm going to do a triple wide necklace strap. You don't have to, but you can. And I'm here to show you that you can. So what I'm going to do is continue working to get to my length, my 42 pearls, and I will meet you back here when I am done. See you in a minute. As you can see, I have completed my strip with my 42 pearls. And I'm going to build my three row unit as follows. I'm going to build the rows like this. I'm going to go this way, which means that when I go this way, the unit that I put inside this way is not going to have a pearl, and then the next unit is going to have the pearl. And then I'm going to go down and I'm going to build across this way, and I'm going to go down and I'm going to build across this way. That is my intention, and that is how I'm going to teach you how to do this strip. If you're only going to do one strip like this, then now's the time that you can, you know, pass your needle through, put in a and then add another 11/0. So and then put a put your clasping on over down this side, and then I'm still going to teach you how to attach it to the focal piece. But to do this side, if you're just going to do one strip for your necklace, that your necklace strap, then just put your clasping on now. But what I'm going to show you is that's the way I'm going to teach you when we do this color is it was easy for me, but it may not be easy for everyone else, but I'm still going to teach it because everyone on who's watching my videos is not a beginner. We may have some people who are beginners. So what I did was I made 2 baby strips, and I'm going to show you how to attach these baby strips with 1 needle, and then I'm going to show you how to do it again with 2 needles. So what I did was I completed this strip and I trimmed off the threads, and then when I got to this strip, I'm exiting my pearl this way, and what I'm going to do is pass my needle either way. You could pass through this side or this side. I'm just gonna go on this side. It doesn't really matter. And I'm going to reposition right here through the side beads. Just remember that we are just working on the inside right now. And I'm going to position my completed strip like this. And what I'm going to do in order to connect these is I'm going to string on 3 of my size 11 seed beads. These seed beads that I'm using are Toho, and they're a little larger than the Mayuki ones, so they don't snug the pearl as tightly, but they'll work for this demonstration. So with my thread exiting the side here, I strung on my 3 seed beads here, and I'm going to connect to the corresponding side of my completed strip, and I'm going to pass my needle into the 3 seed beads. Well, through the 3 seed beads, I was trying to keep it down so you could see it. So I pass my needle through the 3 seed beads on the side, and I'm pulling the thread. When I get here, I'm going to string on 3 more seed beads, and I'm going to pass the needle down back into the side where we began. So that will connect the 2 strips. But remember that this is right angle weave, so we cannot continue by going this way. We have to do our figure 8s, otherwise we're going to have our unsightly threads, and that is not the purpose of this beautiful stitch. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to advance my needle into those first 3 seed beads that I added, and when I pull the thread, I have this. Now I can continue by entering into the inside of the next unit, going that way and pulling my thread. And remember, the side, when we get to the sides, there are 3 beads. So when I get here now, I'm ready to add the next unit that doesn't have a purl. So I'm positioned here. I am positioned here, coming out of the side. See the 3 seed beads here? Coming out of the side. Now I need 3 seed beads. And once I string on my 3 seed beads, I'm going to come across the to the corresponding strip, pass my needle into those 3 seed beads there on the side, and then I have to do my figure 8s by advancing through these first 3 seed beads where we started, down into the side, or up into the side, I'm going up into the side. Sorry about that. Pull the thread this way, pass through the 3 seed beads I just added, this way, pull the thread, and now we can move up into the next unit by going into the 3 seed beads on the inside here. And when I pull my thread, that cinches everything together. Again, my thread is exiting the side here. I need 3 seed beads, and once I get those on, I'm going to come across and I'm going to enter into the corresponding 3 seed beads on this side, pull my thread. I'm going to go back into the previous 3 seed beads that I added, these crossover beads here. Then I'm going to go back into the side. Then I need to come across the 3 seed beads I just added, these crossover ones. Sorry, I had to turn it this way so that I can work. I can get my needle through there and pull my thread. And I'm going to continue by going into these 3. You get this, you get the gist of this, right? Going into these 3, stringing on 3 more, and coming across to the corresponding 3, passing my needle down into those, and then back through the previous 3 seed beads that crossover seed beads that I added, this way, here to this side, into these 3 that I just added, and here. And you guessed it, string on 3 and come through the 3 on the side here, pull your thread, pass into these 3 on this side, up here into this side, these 3, and when you're done, If you're using one needle, you're going to reposition into that seed bead right there. Now that's if you're using one needle. So stand by, and in the next segment I'm going to show you how to connect these using the 2-needle method. So stand by and I'll be right back with you. So I'm back again to explain the 2-needle method. If you're going to do the 2-needle method, you need to do 2 identical strips of your protected pearls and trim the threads off both sides. You should not have a working thread on either one. Then you get your 2 needles and string a comfortable amount of thread on them and leave even tails as much as possible. And to get started, we're going to begin by, on one needle, stringing on 3 of our seed beads, and we're going to pull these down into the center of the thread. And I'm going to pick up a strip, and I'm going to take one needle and I'm going to pass my needle into the inside of that unit and rest that there, and I'm going to take my other needle. I'm going to pass it up the inside of the other strip. And what I'm going to do is put my needles together and pull the threads so that the thread on my needles are even. Once I do that, I'm going to untangle myself. That's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to make sure that my left needle is on its left side and the right needle is on the right. I'm going to, on either needle, string on 3 of my seed beads. And I'm going to pull those seed beads right off the needle, and I'm going to take the other needle and I'm going to pass it in the opposite direction, cross over, and I'm going to pull my threads, making sure that the beads sit in their proper places. Now we have to get into position to add the next crossover section. So I'm just picking it up. I rested my left needle and I'm going to pass my needle, my right needle, up into the side here. And I'm going to pass my left needle up this side. And I can usually do this without a problem, but of course. Okay. Pass my left needle into up the left side, and when I pull my threads, this is what we should have. And then from here, on either needle, and I'm going to use my right hand, my right needle, I'm going to string on 3 seed beads. I'm going to pull these 3 seed beads just off the needle, and I'm going to take the other needle and cross over so that my needles are moving in opposite directions. And I'm going to pull the thread, and there we have our second crossover section complete. And now we have to get ourselves into position to add the next crossover section. So I'm going to do the left side first. I'm going to pass up into that side, and with my right needle pass up into this side. And pull my threads. This is what we should have. And on either needle, string on 3 seed beads. Pull those seed beads just off the needle and pass the other needle through those seed beads in the opposite direction. When you pull your thread, there you have that crossover section done. Again, my left needle, I'm just going to reposition by passing up into the 3 seed beads on the side. And with the right needle, the same thing, pass up. And untangle my mess, my thread mess. And let's get back here. And on either needle, string on 3 seed beads. You get the picture. Pull those 3 seed beads just off the needle, cross the other needle into those 3 seed beads going in the opposite direction, and pull your thread. And the last segment, reposition by passing into the 3 seed beads on the side. Well, that's 2 of them. And with the left needle, the same thing. Pass into the 3 seed beads on the side. Okay, finally. And then string on 3 seed beads. Pull those seed beads just off the needle, across the other, well, I have a tangle, across the other needle into the 3 seed beads. Pull the thread, and this is what you have. When you complete this center section here, you should pass through the beads and trim your threads, because we're going to need a brand new thread. And no matter if you did this section with 1 needle or 2 needles, you're going to need to be positioned at the same place that we begin when I do the actual piece, when I do this strip right here. So again, if you're doing the 2 needle method, just go ahead and pass your needle through some of the beads and trim off your threads, and then you'll need a new piece of thread, and you'll need it positioned in one of these, in this seed bead here, or either one, this seed bead or this one, so that we can go ahead and finish our focal piece. Because what we're going to do is make a taper. We're going to taper off. We're going to do 2 pearls here and then 1 pearl, and then we're going to add our clasping. So it doesn't matter which method you're using. Whenever you're finished, we're only going to use 1 needle to do the tapering. So make sure that once you trim your threads, or I guess you don't have to trim your threads, but you're going to need to be positioned in either this seed bead coming towards the inside or this one coming toward the inside. It's the same thing if I turn it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all these other beads away and clean up my little bit of mess that I'm making here and get my stuff into position. I'll see you in a minute. So I'm back with my strip of 42 and I'm going to build now the rest of the sections. I have completed this piece and I have repositioned my needle and my thread to be exiting this side, a side. It doesn't matter if it's this side or this side, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's this way or this way, upside down, inside out, it doesn't matter as long as you are coming out of a side of the right angle weave. I'm going to hold my piece like this so that I can work on the right side. I'm going to end up turning it and moving it, but have no fear, I'm going to show you everything as I go along. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the center of the necklace strap that does not house a pearl. In order to do that, I need to create my sides. I need a top side, I need a right side, I need a bottom side, but I already have a left side. So in order for me to make my sides, I'm going to need to string on 9 seed beads because I need 3 for my top, I need 3 for my right side, and I need 3 for the bottom. So I have strung on a total of 9 seed beads. And I'm going to circle around and I'm going to enter into the 3 seed beads here, which make up my left side. It's my left side now, but when I pull my thread, it's still the left side, but pretty soon it's not even going to matter because we're going to be over here working in this side. And in order for me to get into position, I'm going to pass my needle through the top 3 seed beads, and I'm just going to pull it to get my formation. And I'm going to come here onto the right side and I'm going to pass the needle down into that side. I still have my 3 on the bottom, but right now we're not interested. We're not going to be working with the bottom beads right now, because we're going to continue advancing from right here where we are. So right here now, to advance from here, I need to string on 1 seed bead, 1 pearl, and 1 seed bead. So this is what you should have on your needle. And I'm going to circle back and pass my needle into the 3 seed beads on the side where we are currently exiting. And I'm going to just hold on to it and pull my thread. This is what you should have. We're going to advance from here by passing my needle into the bottom. This is the bottom left now, and into the pearl side. And once we do that, we're in position now that we need to add the other side of our protected pearls. So that means right now we need to string on we need to string on 5 seed beads. Our working thread is exiting the pearl side, and we're going to circle back, pass our needle back into the purl side, and this is what we have. All sides. We have the 3. So now we're going to reposition by passing my needle into the top right side. Okay, and I'm only holding it there so that the beads don't get distorted. And I'm going to pass into the 3 beads on the side and into the bottom right side. I'm just going to hold those and pull the thread. Oops, sorry. Once there, remember the drill? Once there and our needle is positioned where it's coming out of the inside of the beadwork, what is the first thing I do? We have to add a purl. So we're adding 1 purl and 4 seed beads. And I'm going to pass my needle back into this bottom right side, and I'm going to hold on to the beads, and I'm going to stop knocking the camera around so you don't get dizzy, and I'm going to end up right here. Once here, it looks a little loose, but that's fine. That is fine if it looks a little loose, because we're going to fix that. I'm going to advance my needle now into the purl side that we just added and pull the thread. Once I do that, we are in position that we need to continue to add our protected side. So I need 4 seed beads. Can you see where this is going? Once I get my 4 seed beads, we do the same thing. We get back into, well, we go into the top, the bottom left of the top, the purl that's above it, and pull the thread, and now we have our protected side. And we're going to enter back into the purl side, pull the thread, and we're going to enter into the bottom left of this new unit that we just made. Sorry about that. We're entering into this bottom left, pull the thread. I'm going into the left side here, just the 3 beads on the left side. Then I'm going to go across this bottom that we didn't work with before, and when I pull my thread, this is where we are positioned, and now I'm going to find my way into this next unit, the corresponding unit from over here, and I'm going to pass my needle down into the 3 beads on that side. Then I need to string on 3 seed beads, and I need to pass my needle now into 3 seed beads on this side, which will complete that center unit. Now we need to reposition, so we go back through this unit now, which was the bottom, and now it's the top. We're going to pass our needle that way. We're going to come down here into this side, and we're going to go here on the bottom, these 3 seed beads, and once we get here, we are going to advance, and as we advance, we're only going to do the center unit now. So I have a left side and I have a top side, so I need to make a right side and a bottom. So I need to string on 6 seed beads because we're using 3 seed beads per side to make this the unit without the pearls. And I'm going to find this side here where we're working, and I'm going to pass my needle up into those 3 seed beads. When I pull my thread, I've got my center unit, but I have to get into position to advance and to add the pearl side. So I pass my needle into those top 3 seed beads, and now I need to come here into this side, this right side of that pearlless unit, and I'm going to add now this unit. That unit now needs 1 seed bead and 1 pearl, 1 seed bead and 1 pearl. And what are we doing? We're going to pass our needle into the bottom left seed bead right up under this second pearl. And pull my thread. See what we have? I'm going to advance the needle into this side, the left side of this pearl, and into the bottom side of the pearl. I'm going to go up now into the pearl and position myself into this bottom right of the previous pearl. And once I do that, I'm going to string on 4 seed beads, and I'm going to pass my needle up into the pearl side, into this top right, into the right side, into the bottom right. And look at that, we're here again. We are positioned with thread going towards the inside work. So once we're there, what do we need? We need a pearl. So I'm stringing on 1 pearl and 4 seed beads. This process is going to be the same the whole way down. I'm just going to do this with you one more time, and then I'll leave you to do it on your own, make you autonomous so that you can do this on your own. My working thread is exiting the bottom right seed bead, so I'm circling back and I'm passing the needle back into that seed bead. I'm entering into my pearl side, going down. See where we are? Once here, we need to string on 4 seed beads and pass our needle back into, or pass our needle into the top left now, and continue advancing through the pearl side into the bottom left, up into this left side, into the bottom, down into the left side, and once here, we need a new bottom, which means I need to string on 3 seed beads, and I'm going to pass my needle into this side over here, just those 3 seed beads, and make our figure 8s because we don't want unsightly threads. Down into this side and into the bottom. Now, since we're here, we are going to advance and make another center unit. Once we are at this point here, and we know that we're going to make a center unit because we're making our units to go across and back and down and back and across. It's just that's just the way we're doing it. And in order to continue from here, what do I need? I need a right side and I need a bottom, which means that I need 3 seed beads per side. That equals 6 seed beads. Once I have my 6 seed beads, I'm going to come over here and pass my needle up into the side. Excuse me. Pull my needle, and we're going to get into position now to add the purl side. So I'm going to pass through these 3 seed beads here now on the top. Okay. And then I'm going to come into these 3 seed beads right here. Pull my thread, and you see I still have my 3 seed beads here on the bottom, but we're not going to mess with those right now. We are going to advance and make the purl side. So once we get to the purl side, what do I need? I need 1 seed bead and 1 purl. And I'm going to pass my needle into the bottom left of the previous purl, pull my thread, and get into position to add the beads that we need for the other protected side. Pull the thread. This is what we have. Continue advancing the needle through our bottom left into our purl side. Now we're going to enter into the top right so that we can add the seed beads that we need on this side, which are 4. So string on 4 seed beads and pass our needle into the purl side, and we are continuing to move to the next position, which is going back into that top right, back down into the side, and into the bottom right. Once we're here, we start all over again, and I believe that I have done enough sections so that you'll be able to do this on your own. But if not, please rewind and get yourself back to a place that you're comfortable with, that you can see me doing, knowing that anytime we're coming out, anytime our thread is positioned coming out of a seed bead that's going towards the inside of our work, the first thing that we need to do is to pick up a purl. And in order to surround the purl on the outside, we need to pick up our 4 seed beads and enter into this seed bead here. If you have any problems, just please rewind and try to memorize the steps from there. Try to make you autonomous, because if you because you're going to need to make 2 whole strips if you're going to do it the way I'm doing it. All right, so continue working until you finish your strip, and I will see you when I am done with mine. That's going to be some camera magic. See you in a few seconds. I have completed my necklace strap. I've got my 42 rows completed. And when I left you the last time, and I said that we needed to, when we finished, that we needed to be repositioned in a certain seed bead. Well, it could be the seed bead that we position ourselves in can be this one, or this one. And if you turn it around this way, it's going to be the same thing. This one or this one. So I'm going to just leave my thread going this way, and I'm going to reposition by passing my needle into this seed bead right here, this one. And when I pull my thread, I'm going to string on beads to make a unit. Right now, this is going to be the outside of the unit, and I'm going to string on, like we've been doing, I'm going to string on 4 seed beads and a pearl. So I'm going to circle back and pass my needle back into this same seed bead where I'm exiting. And this is what we have here. We're going to make, just going to turn it over so that I can work comfortably on my right side, and we're going to taper down. And what I mean by that is I have 3 units, 3 columns, or 3 rows wide. I'm three rows wide here, and I'm going to make a 2 row and then a single row. And so what I've done is I have passed my needle, I've strung on my beads, I've passed my needle back into this seed bead right here, and all I did was turn it this way so that I can work on my right side, and I'm going to get into position to add the next unit, the next side of the unit. So I've passed into my right side, I'm going into my top, I'm going to pass into the pearl side, and you know, I'm just holding on to the pearl so that I don't lose formation. And once I pass through the pearl side, there are the 3 seed beads here in the center, and I'm going to just enter into this first seed bead here. And when I do that, then I'm in position to add my seed beads. I'm going to string on, of course, 4. And I'm going to pass back into my pearl side, pull my thread, and I'm going to reposition now to add the next pearl side. So I'm going to pass into this single seed bead where I started, and into the 3 seed beads here up the side, the 3 up the side, and pull. And now that I'm here, I need to string on a pearl side. So on the bottom, on the top, I'm going to need a single seed bead. So I'm stringing on 1 single seed bead and 1 pearl. I'm going to I'm going to pass my needle into this seed bead right here of the 3. Remember I started in this seed bead over here on this side of the 3? Well, I'm not going to use the centers of the 3 seed beads. I'm just going to use the other outside seed bead. And when I pull my thread, this is what we have, this unit. I'm going to get into position now by going up these 3 seed beads here, going into my top now, passing into my pearl side, and now advancing into this bottom seed bead here, just that one. Pull my thread and string on 4 seed beads and pass my needle back into the pearl side. Now I'm going to continue advancing my needle back into that seed bead where I started, up into the 3 seed beads on this side, into the top left seed bead here, into the purl side, into this bottom seed bead here, and up now into the center side. Just like that. I'm going to pull my thread now. I just need to decide which side I want to work on because I need to add my single row, which is the one purl. I'm going to just pass my needle into this bead on the left here. I'm going to string on 4 seed beads and a purl, and I'm going to circle back and pass my needle into that same seed bead where we started. I'm just going to turn it this way so I can work on my right side. And I'm going to enter into these 3 seed beads here on the side. And into my 1 seed bead on the top side, and into the purl side, into the bottom left side. And it's at this point now I string on 4 seed beads and I pass my needle back into the purl side. Pull my thread. This is what I have. Passing my needle into the left side. I mean into bottom left, and now up into the left side. Ooh. See that? I only got one of those on the left side, but I also got the one on the top. That's not what I want. I want these 3 seed beads. I want the 3 seed beads right here on the left. And now I want the one on the top left. And this is what you're going to have to do to the other end as well. So I suggest that if you're going to tie a thread, I suggest that if you're going to tie on a thread, that you tie that thread right here, right there. You'll see that I have just entered my needle in between the seed beads. There are the 3 seed beads here on the side, and then the bottom one, the bottom right seed bead here, the bottom left seed bead here. That's where I would tie my thread, and when I get ready to do my tapering down, I'll begin by entering into these 3 seed beads on the side and then choose a side. Whichever way you want to do it, you can just follow what I did on the other side. If you need to see that again, just tie your new thread here in between this bottom seed bead here, this bottom one right here, and this side with the 3 seed beads. Just pass your needle under, and enter right there to tie the thread so that it is between those 2 seed beads. And then you can do your tapering on the other side. And when you get your tapering done on the other side, meet me back here and we'll go on to the next step. I have completed 2 straps, 2 of my triple row straps here, and both have tapered ends. The one end has trimmed off threads here, and the other end has my working threads and needles attached. And I have set them here this way, so I want, whenever I start working with them, I want you to see that where I have the threads exiting, which is going to make I'm going to add my bail and my closure, my clasping to this side, so that the one side will have its closure going this way and this side will have its closure going this way. So I'm going to set one of these aside, and that doesn't matter which one you set aside because you're going to do both. And I lost my needle, I lost my thread. Here we are. What we're going to do, both sides are going to be the same. And we're going to add this clasping now so that that part can be out of the way, and then we can go on, finish with this project. So at this point, my thread is exiting here. I'm going to string on three of my size 11 seed beads and a pearl, and a wire guardian. I'm going to pass my needle into one side of the guardian and around the groove, and just pull it through just to make sure that we have our the thread sitting in the well of the groove. And then I'm just going to add on my lobster clasp, my lobster claw, and let that sit right there in the wire guardian. I'm just going to pick it up and show you my thread has come out of the groove, but don't worry, I'm going to put that back in there. But right now I'm just going to squeeze the end of the guardian, just to squeeze it so that moving it around the lobster claw doesn't come out, and as you can see, the thread has gone back into the groove. And I'm going to now come to my pearl. I'm going to pass my needle back into the pearl and the seed bead below the pearl, and I'm going to hold on to my beads, and I'm going to pull my thread and once I do that, just to make sure that my thread is seated now still in the well of the wire guardian, and it is, and I have passed back out this way, I'm going to string on 2 more of my size 11 seed beads, and I'm going to enter into, this is the seed bead where we are exiting here, I'm going to enter into the seed bead that is next to it, and I'm going to pull the thread, and that will make my clasping sit off to the side over here. Okay, and the only thing I have to do now is go back through all of these beads and reinforce them several times and tie off my threads. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pass back through these, reinforce several times, and once I am done with my reinforcing, I'm going to trim my threads, and we will be done with this step. And I'm not going to make you watch me do this, but I want you to see that I am reinforcing this connection because it is the clasping. And we always want to have several threads running through our clasping area because we need its strength. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to go through and trim the thread. I'm going to do the same thing on this side with this this side that I have here. I'm going to exactly the same, except for this time I'm adding my jump ring because I already have the lobster clasp, the lobster claw on the other side. So it's the same thing, even though it's going to be facing the other way. It's going, when I get them together, it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to string on. Ooh, it's storming outside. String on 3 of my seed beads and a pearl and a wire guardian. I'm going to pass my needle into one side of the guardian and around the other side. Pull the thread down, making sure that the thread is sitting in the well of the groove. Hold on, I have a little entanglement going on here, and that's the thread is centered. I mean, it's sitting in the well of my groove here. Well, not really, but we're going to fix it. And then I'm going to get my jump ring. I'm going to string it on and let it drop into the well, into the horseshoe of the guardian on the inside. And once I get it there, I'm going to hang on to my jump ring and I'm going to pinch my wire guardian, and that way the jump ring won't fall out, won't slide out. And then I'm going to pass my needle. I'm going to advance it now into the pearl and into the top seed bead, and I'm going to do that today. And when I pull my thread, this is what we have. And from here I'm stringing on 2 seed beads, and I'm passing my seed beads, I'm passing my needle into the seed bead next to the one. See, this is where we started. This seed bead right here is where we started. I'm passing my needle into the next seed bead, and I can advance it into the one where we started, because what are we doing? We are now going to reinforce this connection. And when we get this the connection done, what we're going to be able to do is put our necklace on, and this is what we have. Just move these out of the way, right? And this is what we'll have. This is going to be our clasping. If I can keep this on my board. All right, this is going to be our clasping, just like this. And when we get it around our neck, we don't have to worry about anything. It's going to, it'll lay proper. It might look like a wavy potato chip, but it'll lay proper once you get it on your neck, and especially if you have this clasping going this way, the way I have it. So right now I have my clasping. I just have to get the side, those the clasps reinforced, and once I get those reinforced, I'm going to end the video. So because I'm going to make a focal piece, and this video is already so long, we're going to have something to attach here to these ends. Don't you agree? So I'd like to thank you for hanging out with me, and don't worry, I'm not going to be cruel. I'm going to release both videos on the same day so that you can make your pieces and get your necklace together. So thank you for hanging out with me, and I hope you make this project. Make sure you share with me on Facebook under my same name, Phyllis Brunson-Sutton, and I will see you soon in the next video.